It is crystal clear when and knowing that he is with you and literally walking beside you. Okay, whatever happens, happens.
What's the number?
Way up here, 45,000.
$45,000 to get you out immediately.
U.S.
U.S. dollar. And
US.
cash.
I'm literally just waiting to get processed out. Next thing you know, sirens and loud noises and the guards running everywhere.
All right, everybody.
Sorry.
Can we keep that in? Hey, keep that in. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
So, episode 27 and a half, I guess I would say. We are back sitting here with Brent Lettich again, The Good Hustle. This is a great show. To all the guests that listened last week, we're just continuing with the same story. We are not filming a week later. We are filming it the same day, so don't think we're wearing the same clothes for a week. We have actually been here the same day. But if you didn't hear the first half of the story, please don't start listening now. Go back, listen to last week. We were here with, like I said, my good friend Brent, and we were just talking about how, he's been stuck in a Mexican prison. This is day one, and I thought that was a perfect time to kind of cut the first half of the episode off. But the story he just told, so please go back and listen if you didn't hear it, is an unbelievable story about the night he was in jail, the first night, and he was on his knees praying to God, and so many things happened at that night and at that exact moment. And it's kind of like whenever the night I got sober, when I got sober, I had made a phone call to somebody and they asked me when I was going to get help, and I was trashed. And at that exact moment, everything in my life flashed before my eyes. And I've mentioned that on the show before. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was God's presence. And he took all of that away from me. All of my addictions, all of my drug and alcohol. I'm addicted to all sorts of other stuff, coffee, shopping, whatever. But he took all those addictions away from me. And I had no idea that was his presence. It took me probably 2 years to understand that. But you are to understand it at this point in time, that night, that basically it is well with my soul, which is my favorite hymn. You mentioned your favorite. That's mine. And that's what I think the whole time of this is, because you're literally looking up saying, thank you. I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. It is well with my soul. This is my lion's den, and I'm going to get out of here. And that's Sunday night. Monday morning at some point. I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't know when I don't know when my night happened. It could have been 11 p.m. or 7 a.m. the next morning. I have no idea.
The only thing I do know, and without a shadow of a doubt, it is as crystal clear, and I'm sure you can testify for this.
Right.
It is crystal clear when and knowing that he is with you and literally walking beside you and knowing whatever happens, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be okay because he is in the driver's seat. It's all up to him.
And was that the first time that you've ever had such a profound experience like that?
Yes.
So that was the first.
I've been a believer.
Oh my God.
Pretty much all of my life. Have gone to church. Have been saved, but nothing like that.
And I think just the fact that I don't care like what you believe in, as long as it's something. And I've mentioned this before on the show, whether it's Buddha and anything, just believe in something bigger than yourself, because we can't do this alone in this life. I mean, I have a team that works with me. I literally have a coach, a team leader, a fiance. I have a business partner. I have a doctor. These are all people that help me be a better person. And then I rely on the hand of God. That's my big faith. Other people's big faith is something else, as long as you got something that's not you. Because I remember when I was God and how great that worked out.
You sure did, huh?
I had two eyes when I started. I only got one now. That's part of the deal. Yeah. So, and I want to reiterate to our audience, it's like, just try to believe in something bigger than yourself. It doesn't have to, I'm a believer in Jesus and I'm a believer in the Bible. It doesn't have to be that for you. Just make it something. Just something for yourself, because once again, crystal clear. That night for me is crystal clear. I had been on cocaine and alcohol for over 12 hours. And I have a crystal clear memory of the instant all of that was taken away from me.
Amazing. Truly amazing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So just to recap for our viewers here, Brent Lettich was going on a dream vacation. Everything was great. Accidentally had a firearm in his bag. Got detained in Mexico. Things went sour really quick. A very emotional experience in a prison cell. Little to no help from the U.S. consulate. And now he turns around in his cell. He has a vision from God and emotionally is just overwhelmed with peace.
Yes.
Right? And that's where the story left off.
It is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but let's take it from right there because I think it's just important for everybody that's seen the episode before just to get that little recap and like get us back into previously on Brent Lettich.
Thank you, man. That was really nice. All right. Let's go.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Again, complete calmness, knowing going into Monday, okay, I know Aaron was going to contact the attorney at some point. That morning, one of the workers came in and confirmed that there will be an attorney coming to see you. So fast forward a couple minutes, couple hours. Again, I don't know, probably before noon on Monday, the door's open. Again, click, click, the door's open. Here comes a gentleman, of course, a Mexican. And he comes up to me and he introduces himself. His name is Mimo. So Mimo Lamali, that he was contacted by Aaron. He is an attorney and he's here to talk to me. So the first thing that clicked with me, going back to my Marine Corps career, I served with a gentleman with the last name of Lamali. So I said, hey, I can understand. I mean, your last name is Lamali. I'll never forget that. But he says, oh, I go by Mimo. Okay, well, so his name is Mimo. Not sure what his true real name is. As a matter of fact, Matt would know because I believe Matt still has his business card. And Matt still texts him to this day. Anyhow, so he talks about the 5 charges that I'm faced with. And again, reiterates what the penalties are going to be. At one point while he's going through this, again, before this, Brent Lettich was uptight, don't understand. At this point, I'm literally, I guess what you can say is relaxed as can be because I'm, okay, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, because you had the vision and you
I
just,
did.
yeah.
Oh, you bet. So, okay, that it is what it is. If I spend 10 years, it's okay. God is going to, he is going to take care of my daughters somehow, some way. So he's telling me this. He gets done, and I see a chain around his neck. I said, hey, Mimo, can I ask a question? Do you believe? And he looked at me, and he said, why, sure. And he did one of these numbers, and he brought out, and he had a cross. I'm like, I said, fantastic. God is in control. And he's like, yes, he is. And I said, let me ask you, what's it going to take to get me out of here immediately? And he was quiet. And I said, Mimo, what's it going to take? And he's like, waited, paused. And this was silent. And he's like, well, I apologize. Let me go back. When he came in, he introduced himself and he said, hey, your friend Matt is here outside as well. So I knew Matt was at the detention center and he was telling me all this. I asked him, what's it going to take? He's silent. We have a stare down. It's silent. Probably 5 seconds, 10 seconds, felt like about a year.
I was going to say, that felt like forever.
And he's like, I have talked to the prosecution. And I said, okay. What's that mean? And he's like, I have a number. So when he says I have a number, okay, 1,000, 2,000,
Oh, you're thinking you were
5,000.
thinking money.
Oh, it's definitely money.
When you said a number to me, I was
yeah.
like, oh, he's got a number of years.
No.
I thought so. Yeah. Maybe I know what you're thinking because I know the story.
Yeah, okay.
But this is listen.
My intention was, what's it going to take?
Yeah.
Literally, because the good news is Mexico is corrupt. The bad news is
Mexico's corrupt. I know.
Mexico is corrupt. Thank God. That's why Brent Lettich is here, to be able to tell this story.
Yeah.
So he said he has a number. Great. In my mind, 1,000, couple thousand.
Few.
Yeah. What's that number? And he gives me the number. You would want to talk about getting hit in the chest with 2 feet and a tractor trailer and you name it. And he told me the number, and the number was like out of reach.
What's the number?
Way up here. 45,000.
$45,000 to get you out immediately.
U.S. money.
U.S. dollar and
US
cash.
Okay. Yeah, great. Yeah, good. See,
In a duffel bag.
Oh, that's great. Good job. So you guys know the law that
10K each.
$10,000, one person can only transport up to $10,000 across international lines.
Amen. Yeah.
So in my mind, he's told me 45. Oh my gosh, that's 5 people. Okay. Then he proceeds to tell me it has to be cash. Because in my mind, he's going to tell me $5,000. All right, I'll sell another house. I'll have to work extra. You know what? I'll sell something. I'll get that $5,000. I'll write him a check. I'll write them a check. No problem. I'll give him my credit card. I got the limit. No problem. I'll give him my credit card. This will all be done.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. It has to be
Cash.
Has to be greenbacks. No credit card, no checks, no cashier's check, no nothing. Absolute cash.
How angry are you at this point? Because if I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes, I would be so mad at just how corrupt that was and how ridiculous of an offer that was supposed to be because you accidentally had a firearm in your briefcase. Now you're looking at having to somehow break the law and do some cowboy stuff to get $10,000 into 5 duffel bags for 5 people to bring it down.
Yes.
This is ridiculous.
It's out of
It feels like who's the criminal here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is the funny part. It's like you have to commit a crime to get out of a crime. And now corruption and the cash, and that's the reason, like I said in the first episode, I got a phone call that Monday morning from Tim, and it was, "Do you have a passport?" Yes.
Now it's tying together, right?
Yep. Do you have? And I said,
pictured John Henry throwing wads of cash in a bag.
You should have. What you would have pictured is me saying, "Tim, can I borrow $10,000?" That's what you should have pictured.
Guys, remember in the very beginning, it all happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
So, in my mind, he's telling me 45,000. The wheels are spinning. That's 5 people. He continues to tell me Mexican law, if you are convicted, you have to be tried. You go in front of a judge. The United States needs to take a little bit of this into their judicial system. You need to be seen in front of the judge 48 hours after you're convicted. Now, this is 24 hours into it. Bless you. Keep going. We're 24 hours into it. That leaves 24 hours on the table that we have to find $45,000, 5 people with passports, get them, all 5 people, from wherever they're coming from, down to Cancun. Wait, 48 hours?
There's no way.
There's no possible way.
And it has to be before you.
Well, yes, because if not, then I'm going for the full Monte. All the possible minimum
You're
2
getting
years.
sentenced.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Lamally, have you talked to Matt about this? And he's like, no. I said, okay. Can you go talk to Matt and bring Matt in here? Yes. So when he was out talking with Matt, I'm going through my head, okay, how is this even feasible? Brent Lettich doesn't have $45,000 cash that you can go to a bank and withdraw.
Right.
Who has $45,000 cash?
Even if you did, how are you getting it there?
How you getting
24
it there?
hours?
Yeah, with all these people.
Yeah.
So in my mind, okay, I have to counter this.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we do.
How is this even feasible? So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I have a number that is maybe attainable. So this is my number. So when I'm thinking this, Matt and Mimo come in, and Mimo comes up, and we started having a conversation. One of the guards calls Mimo over. Now, Mimo is maybe 15 feet apart. I'm still behind the bars, but they're out in the open. Mm-hmm. Mimo gets called over, which gives me an opportunity to finally talk to Matt. Finally, somebody I know, somebody that is on my side. So I'm like, Matt, did Mimo talk to you and tell you the number? He's like, yes. I'm like, we can't do that. And Matt's like, I agree. But this is my number, Matt. I'm thinking if we offer $30,000. And he's like, that's the exact same number that I even told Mimo. I think we can handle that. Okay, $30,000 is a little bit better. Brent Lettich still doesn't have $30,000 cash. That's now going to require 3 people to come down. A little more manageable. So Matt and I agree on the number. Now, a little bit about Matt. Again, God puts everybody in place, and everything happens for a reason. The reason Matt came on this trip is because Matt, like John, is recovering. He is sober. He has lived a life on the streets. Mm-hmm. He has been behind the bars. He's dealt. He's been through all of this. So if there's anybody that is going to be able to negotiate on my behalf and deal with these Mexican thugs, cartel, my God. Amen. Thank you for putting Matt in place.
Right. And at this point, is that who you know? Does Mimo tell you who's getting the 45,000 or the 30,000?
The only thing I know is Matt and I had about a 5-second conversation. We agreed on $30,000.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we could do. We agreed on the number.
And this is really crazy because at the same time, you should have seen what was going on in our office.
Well,
the insanity.
This is moments or an hour before.
Yeah.
This all happened.
Yeah.
Because I said, Matt, can you make it happen? Now, mind you, Brent Lettich's behind bars. I have zero communication. Mm-hmm. The only thing I know is now Matt is tasked with making a phone call. And I told him, obviously, the only one we know that has access to that amount of cash just so happens to be my best friend, Mr. Tim, our friend, broker owner, Tim. Okay, make sure you call Tim. Because if anybody can make this happen,
it's Tim.
It's Tim. He is the best coordinator, the best person to have in your corner, period. Make sure you call Tim. I got it. So they leave. And that conversation only probably lasted 5 minutes. That we agreed on the $30,000 and Matt was going to take care of it.
Now, did Mimo agree on this?
So Mimo, I apologize. Mimo had come back and we said $30,000.
Now, he has to communicate that to the other people that are involved that want money.
Amazingly, he knew it would be okay. Yeah.
Something's fishy about this Mimo character.
Come on. Upstanding lawyer. I mean, yeah.
Did you see Leslie's new purse?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was carrying a Gucci or I don't know what she was.
Oh, my God.
So they leave. And that is when another part of the story happened. So Brent Lettich is now behind bars. I have zero communication. To be honest, I have no clue what is happening. The only thing I do know is that 24 hours from now, after they left, I have to go in front of a judge. That's all I know. The part of the story, there's many different facets. The part of the story Matt made the phone call to Tim. Tim started coordinating. He is the best coordinator around.
He hammered this out.
Coordinating, making the phone calls. Now, this is all unbeknownst to me. Remember, I'm just in a cell.
You're just in
but
a
now,
concrete
after
box.
all of this, I understand it. So Tim started making phone calls. 3 people now have to get down to Mexico. 3 people have to have a passport. 3 people have to be okay putting a backpack of 10,000 greenbacks on their back and crossing international lines, getting it into Mexico, into Cancun, getting it there and being comfortable with that. How many people do you know can, at a whim, take a day off of work? How many people do you know are willing to up and leave and here we go, let's go, $10,000 in my backpack? Started coordinating all of this. So in my world, and I'll just talk about my world, and I'll get to all of the remaining part of what happens. In my world, they started bringing prisoners in from that got, I guess, detained the night before, Mexican. So the cells started filling up. They're all talking in Mexican. I don't understand a thing. Again, I'm okay with everything that's happening. A few other people come in. I had to go get more fingerprints. I mean, they did anything and everything, pictures, eye scans, you name it, they did it. So this was happening Monday. Tuesday morning comes. Monday evening, obviously, was very restless. No communication. Don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Have no idea. I was able to lay down. I used my Crocs. We all know what Crocs are.
Yeah.
That's what I used for a pillow because there was no pillows. There was no nothing. I didn't eat. They didn't offer me any food.
I'm only laughing because I was in a holding cell once and I used a shoe as a pillow.
Absolutely.
It was a Colhan, but it was a shoe. Go ahead.
So Tuesday morning comes, and Lomali comes in. Not Lomali, Mimo. Mimo comes in, and he comes in and he says, Brett, I got good news. We have everything arranged, and we are getting what we need. So court is scheduled for 7 p.m. tonight. Okay, not a problem. So he tells me what's going to happen in the court process. So we're going to go to court. Now, the first thing that I thought of is, okay, mind you, these are felonies that I'm being tried for. What court is at 7 o'clock at night? I mean, don't courts normally happen Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.? Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking 7 p.m. That's what time it's scheduled for. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's 7 p.m. Great, let's do this. Because I had to be tried within 48 hours. And maybe that's why. I don't know. But he's like, the arrangements have been made. Matt is telling me there are people coming with everything that's needed. Okay, this is the process. We're going to have to go in front of the judge. And the prosecution is going to present the case with all 5 charges. However, when they go through all 5 charges, we will be able to then counter, which we really don't have because I'm a sitting duck. It is what it is. I brought the gun. It's a 9mm. I mean, they're all true statements.
Yeah.
But at the end, the prosecution is now going to suggest or recommend to the judge to lessen the sentence. And lessening the sentence, meaning they are going to be willing to take what in that, and I forget the terminology, but they'll be willing to just give me a fine and let me do probation, if you will, service, community service. And if that happens, then I'm home free. That means I'm done. All I have to do is pay the fine, whatever that fine is, and I'll be set free and I can go on my way. Because let's be honest, the community service, could they care less that they're not? That's just a recommendation. Mm-hmm. They're really not going to hold me to community service. So that's what's going to happen. Okay, great. Now I know Matt has called Tim. There's 3 people going to have to come down. At this point, of the whole venture. I had no idea who these three people are. Go through Tuesday, and I'm waiting, and it seems to me, I mean, my gosh, it's got to be past 7 o'clock. My gosh, it's got to be 8 o'clock. Oh my gosh, it's got to be 9 o'clock. It is forever. Finally, 2 police officers come in, and they, again, Mexican speaking, Brent Lettich, yep. So they come in, they handcuff me, they put me in a police car. Now these guys were as cool can be. I mean, they're 2 young guys. They are outfitted to the hilt. ARs, I mean, body armor, you name it. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff, but we couldn't communicate. So we go to the courthouse. It's a legitimate courthouse. It's the, I forget and I have pictures of it, legitimate courthouse. We go in. I went from a 6x12 cell down to a 6x6 cell. Again, now it's dark outside, so I know it's summertime, so it has to be late. In my mind, I don't have a watch. I don't have anything. It's late. The whole entire facility is nobody around. But I get taken into a 6x6. My world's getting smaller. I get taken into a 6x6 cell. And there I sit. And then they come and get me, and they take me up to the courtroom. Well, in the courtroom, now it's about a 3x3 standing room only cell. And O'Malley comes in, and O'Malley is white as a ghost. And I'm like, hey, I mean, how's everything looking? Do you have everything you need? And he looks at me and says, do you know who came down and brought the money? And I said, no, I have no idea. What are you talking about? He's like, we have a problem. We have a big, big problem. What is the problem? And he's like, well, the 3 guys that came down, I mean, one is a big guy. As soon as he said big guy,
Tim.
I know Tim. Okay. The other is Babe Ruth and a gangster. Babe Ruth and a gangster. Have no idea who these people are. So I said, Mimo, did they bring what you need? And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay, what's the problem? Well, one of them speaks English, or one of them speaks Spanish, and the other one is like a gangster. Like, he knows the law, he knows this, that, the other thing, and I felt very uncomfortable. They threatened me. They threatened you? Excuse me. I mean, 3 Americans came down carrying $10,000 on their backs, and you feel threatened? What are you talking about, you feel threatened? So he proceeds to tell me that when they brought the money down, they gave it to Matt, and Matt got in his car, and they followed him. So, and again, I have no idea any of this happened. So they followed him, made him very uncomfortable. I said, listen, can I ask you a question? Do you have what you need? Yes. Good. Do you believe in God? Yes. I'm like, good. It's in God's hands. Let's get this done. Let's get into the courtroom. You have what you need. What happened, happened. Let's get in the courtroom and get this done. And he's like, let's leave it in God's hands. Okay. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I don't know. Is he going to tell the prosecution now? What is he going to tell him? Is he going to suggest? I mean, is this going to be a problem? It is what it is. I can't control anything. I had no idea what happened previously. I've been in a cell, no communication with anybody. Haven't seen Matt, haven't talked to anybody. All I know is I've been going from one cell to another. It's getting smaller. Here I am. So we get into the courtroom, legitimate courtroom. It's me, my lawyer. It's the prosecution. There's one other person with the prosecution. There is the judge, and it's very formal. When the judge entered, we had to stand. He told me that there's going to be an interpreter or a translator, so at least I will know what's going on, because everything is going to be in Spanish. Yeah. But this translator will then tell me everything that's being said. and there's going to be a stenographer. So those are the people that are going to be in the courtroom. We get to the courtroom. That's exactly what it was. The judge comes in. The judge tells me that it's going to be recorded, and it's up on the camera in the corner. So at least in my mind, okay, good. This is legit. I mean, it's being recorded. Now, whether the record button was on or not, I have no idea, but I do know I saw myself up on the screen. Very good. So the process goes through just like a court. The prosecution goes through, tells them everything, one by one by one. I mean, you want to talk about a roller coaster? It was, oh my gosh, and then he talks about the next one, and then he's like, and then the third one, and it was just, you want to talk about your life being flashed in front of your eyes? 5 different times, and it's drawn out because I have to say everything. And all I can do is sit there, and the only thing I can do is the interpreter, the translator is telling me things. I don't know if that's what they're saying or not, but at least I think that's what they're saying. At the very end, Lomali or Mimo. I use both. I call him Lomali because that's... Anyway, he looks at me, he says, okay, it's our turn. So he then presents everything. Now, this is where he presents things unbeknownst to me that happened in that short window that Tim Costello orchestrated and everybody back here orchestrated. So he presented a state police report. He presented many letters from
I remember
the community.
This part. I forgot about the letters.
Oh, yes. Presented all of these things.
Wait, what are the letters?
So basically, we had to write basically letters of recommendation. Yeah, basically stating what an outstanding citizen he is.
Yeah. Oh, so that came from the real estate office. Everybody was sending them to Mexico?
Yeah, what did the state police send it? Because I remember that too.
Yep, so they got a report that, I had never had a speeding ticket. For 15 years, I didn't have a speeding ticket. So,
by the way, guys, if you're enjoying this episode of the Good Hustle Podcast, please go ahead, leave a like, subscribe on the YouTube, and also we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts now. So if you want to listen without the video part, you can do that.
Yep, and if you're looking for any real estate needs, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, please contact Zach or myself. Our numbers are below. Back to the podcast. Your criminal report.
My criminal report, they brought it all
this
to show them that, look, this guy is as squeaky clean as they can get.
Yeah, not a bad dude.
Yeah, not a bad dude. So my attorney did all of that. And that made me feel fantastic. I didn't even know he had the stuff until he started presenting it. I'm like, this is nice. Back up. Matt was in the courtroom. So when I walked into the courtroom, there he was in the back, which was fantastic. Just that somebody is in my corner.
Right. Familiar face.
Yes. So we presented our case, and then it went back to the prosecution. And the prosecution, this is go time. This is when he said, this is their recommendation. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He recommended the lesser of the fines or penalties. And now it goes to the judge. So the judge had to review everything and...
Wait, hold on. What was the lesser that he presented?
Paying a fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Community service.
And community service.
Oh, so that was it. Okay.
That was it. So the judge reviewed everything, and he ruled in my favor. So all of those things.
Let's go back. When he ruled in your favor, now you'd already felt peace.
I did.
How did you feel at that moment?
Oh my gosh. I'm free.
Yeah.
Almost free.
Almost. Because in my mind, what Mimo told me is once they rule, you're done. You can go back with your family.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, this is fantastic. I got ruled. I'm free. I just got to pay this fine. No problem. I already know that they have $30,000 of my money. So it's another, it was $1,500 is what it was. In U.S., it was 23,000
billion pesos.
Yeah, pesos. But equated to 1,500.
Right.
No problem. So Mimo said, no problem. I will pay that. We'll pay that first thing in the morning. So great. I'm free. I can walk out of here a free man. The judge leaves, and the prosecution leaves. Everybody else leaves. Me, Matt, and Mimo are there. Mimo goes, does something, and the police come over to get me. I'm like, wait a second. Why are you coming to get me again? You heard a lot more than I did because they were in the courtroom as well. You heard just as much as I did. They're like, no, give me your hands. So I had to go back into handcuffs. Mimo comes over. He says, what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to go back to the prison, and you're going to have to, 9 o'clock in the morning is when the court opens. I will be here at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I will pay the fine and come get you by 11. I'll be there by 11. Okay. What's another night? Not a problem. I know. Well, I'm not going to spend 10 more years in the prison. So we go down, part ways with Matt and Mimo. I go down with the police, and they're like, they started texting. First time Brent Lettich was ever exposed to this. They texted, and the translator, Google has a translator on your phone.
Google Translate.
That's pretty dang cool. So they're texting me these things, and they said, do you realize you're going to go back to jail? I'm like, huh? I said, yes. They're like, well, you actually have to go to a different prison tonight because the first was the detention center.
Big boy prison now.
Oh, boy, you sure are right. Big boy prison.
Oh, so what's this like?
Boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. If you ever seen Locked Up Abroad, it's a TV show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Mm-hmm. It's for real. It is Mexican felony prison. So they take me to the prison. It's in the middle of Cancun. It is literally in downtown Cancun in a neighborhood. When we talk about neighborhoods, we're not talking about very nice neighborhoods. We're just talking about, it looks like a war zone, guys. I mean, it's a cement building. It looks like there was bombs dropped on it because some of the walls were down. There's wild dogs running everywhere. It is a hole. In the middle of the night, okay, look, I'll be free tomorrow morning. Not a problem. So they take me in. They take me inside, and they put me into a little room until they can find where I'm going to go eventually. So trusting everything. Okay, here we go. Get into a little room. I wait. And then two other guards come get me. Very, very broken English, but I follow them, and they take me into a cell. They open up the door. Now, mind you, this is 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, dark, everybody's sleeping, probably a 50 by 50 room. And you walk in, and of course, there's a little light, and all you see are bodies on the floor, laying on the floor, head to toe. As tight as you can get in there. Guys laying on the cement floor. 50 by 50 room filled with guys. Remind you, this is in June. This is in Cancun. It's hot. This place does not have air conditioning. So as soon as you open up the door, you can imagine what it smelled like. So no room to lay down. So I sit down. I sit Indian style. Remember what Indian style was?
Yeah.
50 years old. The only room I have to sit is Indian style. Well, I got a brand new knee. So there I sit, waiting. A couple of guys wake up. They go to the bathroom. They go back. Some are on little foam mats. Others literally are laying right on the cement floor with rolled up towels, rolled up shirts, whatever, as their pillows. As we get into this, again, and there's so much more into this. Long story short, 9 o'clock comes. We all wake up. There's parts of this where I can get into about the actual Mexican prison, which you see on TV is no joke. In this cell or in this room, there's a hierarchy. So there's a boss. Mm-hmm. When that boss wakes up, he comes out of a little closet. That closet is air conditioning. He comes out. All of these other people are getting fold-up chairs and little plastic lawn chairs. They get them all situated for the boss. He sits at the head of the table, and then his hierarchy sits around. So 2 guys had come up to me, and they were able to speak English and communicate with me. So they were telling me the rules and how the procedures of this cell work. So 9 o'clock comes. We had a clock on the wall. 9 o'clock comes. 9 o'clock goes. 10 o'clock comes. 10 o'clock goes. 11. Well, O'Malley said he's going to be here soon. 12 o'clock. Okay. Where are you at, guys? Here I am. I'm waiting. Next thing you know, guards come in. Lettich. I get out. They handcuff me. They take me over into another area of the prison. I'm thinking, here I go.
Now, this is Wednesday.
This is Wednesday.
Yep. Okay.
Correct.
Keep going.
They take me into a little room, probably a 10 by 10 room. It's air conditioning. Man, love it. Now, guys, I haven't gotten a shower. I'm in the same clothes that I was in Sunday morning when we left Baltimore.
Yeah.
Loving it. So I get into this 10 by 10 room. There's three ladies in there, and they needed to process me into this location. Okay, it's just a formality, right? So they started asking me questions.
Gee.
They don't speak English. I don't speak any Spanish. So they make a phone call, and they get a gentleman, an American, who is detained there to come to the room. When the door opens, here comes a gentleman from America. And he walks through, and I can see it plain as day. He almost has to bend down. He's like a big, tall, muscular guy. Like, okay. He's like, hey, I understand you need some translation. I'm like, I sure do. He's like, I'm Bruce. When he opened up the door, it was like, it was almost like an angel.
Yeah.
And as the story goes, he was in my life for 1 hour. He truly was my angel at that time. Because now I'm doubting everything that's happened. Mimo said he's going to pay the fine, be here at 11. It's noon, no sign. I'm getting processed.
Which means you feel like you're staying.
Oh, you bet. If I'm being processed.
Yeah, why are you processing me? Aren't I supposed to be leaving?
I'm supposed to be out. And I'm telling him all of this. And he kind of chuckles. He's like, listen, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if he told you 1 day or 2 days, it's going to be a week, 2 weeks, or a month. Nothing works like it says it's going to down here. And I said, Bruce, okay. He told me he's going to be here at 11. It's going to happen. So he helps me get processed. Literally, they had voice. I had to voice over things. Reticle. I mean, you want to talk, we're talking a third world country, but man, were they ever sophisticated for their prisoners. I mean, fingerprints, toe prints, voice, eyes. They took pictures of every part of my body. This was all the part of the process. So he walked me through that, gave me a couple pointers, and he told me, he's like, listen, I'm going to try to get you to my cell, because he was a boss. Mm-hmm. He had been there. I asked him, Bruce, what are you here for? So I've been here almost 9 years.
Bruce was an inmate.
He was an inmate.
Yeah, you said,
I missed that part, so that's my fault. Sorry.
Nope, and I may have not said it.
No, you said it. It's okay.
Bruce was an inmate. He had been there almost 9 years. Bruce, can I ask what you're here for? Yep, I came down on vacation with my wife and 2 kids down here to Cancun, and my wife was murdered. And I was framed for this. I've been here almost 9 years.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, wow, are you kidding me? No, I'm going through the process. I'm fighting it, so on and so forth. Now, I had no idea who Bruce Redmond was until I got home. I know Bruce as an angel. So he's telling me this, and he's telling me, I'm a boss. I'm going to try to get you to my cell. Because if I can get you to my cell, I have food, I have air conditioning, I have a phone, you can make phone calls. He's talking to the guards. The guards are calling the prison warden. They're trying to get me to go to his cell. just did not happen for whatever reason that I guess the warden wasn't available, so on and so forth. But Bruce was like, I'm going to do everything I can to get you to my cell. So, okay, I appreciate that. I won't need that because I'm out of here. I mean, I appreciate your help, Bruce, but I'm just waiting on him to pick me up. So Bruce was in my life for 1 hour, was an absolute angel, breath of fresh air. Go back to my cell, wasn't there very long. And finally, I get the call. Lettich. So I go to the front. It's Mimo. Mimo comes and gets me. He's like, hey, a little bit of a hiccup. We got to get you back into court tonight. What do you mean I got to go back into court tonight? Well, I was there. I paid the fine. Not a problem. But now I have to prove, the court has to prove that I paid the fine. So now you have to go in front of the execution judge. Execution? Yeah, that's funny. No, that's what we call it down here. It's an execution judge. They are the ones to make sure we did everything we're supposed to. You're kidding me, right? Nope, it's tonight, set for tonight. So all we're going to have to do is prove that I paid it, and then you'll be out. Okay, no problem. This is Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, it'll be free. Fast forward, same cops come pick me up later that afternoon, evening. I go to the courthouse. I go in front of the execution judge. Another hiccup. Mimo, my fine was for $1,500 some odd dollars. Mimo overpaid. Get that. He overpaid. He rounded up and he gave him, I don't know, $1,600. I don't know the exact numbers. And the judge is like, oh, no. We can't have that. We need the exact amount.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Hello, you have more of my money. Consider it a tip.
Right.
I could care less. Just, you got it. Don't worry about refunding me. Go out to eat. Whatever. No, can't do that. Mimo's like, listen, this is what'll happen. And the prosecution again was there. And they're like, Mr. Judge, the execution judge, we will testify. We are okay with freeing this man, letting him go. I have no doubt he will go tomorrow and pay the exact amount. Long story short, the execution judge said, yep, okay. We'll let you come back to the courthouse Thursday morning and pay the fine and the exact amount. Ruled it, and now I get to go in the cop car again. Now this ride was amazing. This ride was the best part of my Cancun vacation. I get in the ride, same two cops. They turn the lights and the sirens on. They are into the speaker. People are dispersing. It's like the Red Sea. I'm telling you, people are just moving everywhere. It was the best ride ever.
They were like celebrating with you?
Yes, it was amazing. They at least had fun. And they were translating and telling me all this and get back to the prison. I'm just waiting now for them to process me out. It's going to take minutes, right? I get there and I'm literally now, I don't go back to the cell. I'm literally just waiting to get processed out. Next thing you know, sirens and loud noises and the guards running everywhere. I mean, scattering, people running, getting to their cells. And there are some, what's going on? Huh. Brent Lettich's luck, can you imagine this? Now finding out there was an escape. Somebody tried to escape. Prison got put on lockdown. There I sit. Now.
A free man in prison.
Can't wait to get out.
Now, when you booked this, was this the all-inclusive you were looking for?
Oh, it was so wonderful. Yeah.
You got the full experience.
Anybody can go on vacation and go to a resort, right? Yeah, you got to see the behind the scenes. This was worth the price of admission.
Dude, I if my wife ever says, hey, I'm thinking Cancun.
No.
Not I.
Yeah. So, again, everything happens for a reason. So there's these called runners inside the prison. So these runners help the guards. The guards don't do anything. These young kids in each of these cells are runners. So one of the runners was a young kid from San Diego, actually implant from Tijuana. So he was able to speak. So he was like, hey, I was talking with him. He's like, oh, you're the American, blah, 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 blah. So he knew all about me. And I said, what cell are you in? And he's like, oh, I'm in cell D. I said, that's Bruce's cell, isn't it? He's like, yeah. I said, do me a favor. Go tell Bruce that I'm actually getting out. He's like, okay. He runs back to the cell. He comes back and he says, hey, Bruce is so happy for you. He's ecstatic. He gave me Bruce's email and his phone number. He's like, if you ever need or whatever he can, here's his number and his information. A couple minutes go by, and next thing I know, okay, Mr. Lettich, you're free. And I was able to walk out of the prison, and there's Matt.
And there's a picture of this.
Oh, I absolutely have the picture.
Can we get a copy of it? Because I'd like right now, I want this to be shown.
Sure.
Like, I want people to see this during this podcast. So right now, if you're going to see a picture, and I know this picture because it's dark out.
Oh, it's dark out. Me literally walking out.
Yeah.
And in Matt's arms, and we do a selfie. And I'm not sure if it's in the background or not, but the prison's in the background.
It is. I remember it being in the back. Well, I don't know for a fact, but I remember it being in the background.
Yep.
Can't wait to see that.
He's waiting there for me. Fantastic. So I jump in. He has a driver. We go to the hotel. And of course, again, I knew nothing that happened. So he's telling me, I'm like, Matt, who are the guys that came down and got and helped through all this? He's like, well, yeah, of course it's Tim. He told me it's a JR and there's a guy named Dave. Now, guys, I don't know how much time I have because there's another part of this story of why and how all of this happened. Everything happens for a reason.
There was insanity with Matt, with money, with the attorney's house, with hiding money under a rug.
Insane story.
And the story, and maybe there's going to be a second part to this coming on. Maybe we bring Matt on eventually and have him tell his part. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Because there is a part of the story that behind the scenes, because this is I wanted me to be more of your story, but behind the scenes of this, the stuff that Matt did.
Amazing.
And JR, is JR the one who spoke Spanish or was it Dave?
No, Dave.
Good. So Dave comes down and speaks Spanish. JR, they thought JR was a gangster?
Oh, yeah. Well, because he's buff.
He's buff.
Yeah,
he is.
He's in the military.
He was the guy I was talking about military. JR, not JD.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, he's not going to stay there, right? He's going to come right home and not finish out this vacation in Mexico, right?
So I get to the hotel Wednesday night, and I finally see the three people come down. It's Tim, it's JR, and it's David. Guys, I had never in my life met David. Never. Until that moment, I finally saw David. So we're talking about a gentleman who Brent Lettich has never met, who literally just put his life on hold to come down
and on the line
to Mexico.
Yeah.
So talk about God putting everybody in place for a reason. JR is Brooks's friend. JR is military. I met JR 3 or 4 times. He's big military, big guns. So we had that
very
in
smart,
common. Very smart. Oh, and he's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Aha. So, long story short, Brooks was on the phone with JR on early Monday morning, told JR that, hey, you remember Brent? Yeah, Brent's in jail down in Mexico. He forgot his pistol and his briefcase. They locked him up. And JR's like, Brooks, that's no joke. This is not going to end well. Brooks is like, yeah, well, this is what's happening. They agreed to $30,000. We're getting the money. Tim was able to get the money, which again is a part of the story, but amazingly was able to, at his fingertips, make a phone call, get $30,000 cash. Now we need 2 other people. 2 people that immediately came to mind was Tim's mom and dad.
Oh,
Mom and Poppy.
Yep.
80 plus years old, but they had passports and they didn't have any responsibilities, a job, anything like that. JR is like, absolutely not. Mama and Poppy are not going. Give me 10 minutes. JR makes a phone call to David. David is his neighbor. David, listen, I got a fellow Christian down in Mexico right now. They locked up. Needs our help. We need to get to Mexico within 24 hours with money. Are you in? Can you help?
Whose car are we taking?
That's exactly what he said. He's like,
Hold
his
my
words.
beer. Hold my beer.
I'm in.
Wow.
Never met David before. So David gets off the phone. JR calls Brooks. Brooks, It's me, David, and Tim. Those are the three. We're the ones going down. Okay, let's do this. So now they had to get all of this information to Lindsay, the travel agent, remember, who booked everything, to book a flight to get down to Cancun in time. Wow, that in itself is a feat.
Yeah.
Within 24 hours, 3 people, she did it. So JR now calls David back. David, all right, if you're in, this is no joke. We're going. We got to get on the plane within 24 hours. I need your date of birth. I need your license, blah, 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 for the travel agent. And Dave's like, all right, whatever. This is what it is. Because in David's mind, JR is kind of a jokester. David's mind is like, yeah, I'm going to hang up the phone and I'm going to get another phone call from a radio station and say, dude, you're the best friend ever. Like, you were going to drop everything. You were pumped. I mean,
Yeah.
Wow, you were going to do it. So in David's mind, this is like a prank. So he's like, yeah, I'll do it. He called back, and JR's like, this is no joke. We're doing this. David's like, okay, I'm in. David works full time. David works, he's in the healthcare business, and he is their translator. So you know how you have these pamphlets. He is the one who translates it into different languages
Right.
to give out for the healthcare.
Okay.
So he's the one who spoke Spanish. JR is the attorney, knows the rules, laws, regulations, and Tim's the big guy.
So is this something that, like, when these phone calls were made to get these people, was it like, this is planned, he speaks Spanish, this person does this, or was it just like, these are the first 3 people we can think of, and for whatever reason, they had all the perfect skill sets in place to
That
make
was
it all
God.
happen?
That was God.
Yeah.
Because the original was Poppy and his wife.
Yeah.
I was called,
Yeah.
and I said yes. And then I was told an hour later I didn't have to go, and I was super relieved because, I mean, you said it. God put
everybody in place.
because Brooks, who is Tim's nephew and one of my best friends, golf champions, he's really close with JR. So it was just a culmination of all sorts of people. Just, I mean, it was like
There's only one person who can orchestrate it. One.
Yep.
It's not a person.
Yep.
Only one. God.
Yeah,
It's
and
amazing.
like to me, like through that process, like I got a phone call.
Yeah.
And I said yes, and man, did I not want to? I mean, no offense. I mean, I'm sure nobody really wanted to go.
Yeah, it's, who isn't going to think that they're on an episode of Punk'd when they get that phone call? It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was. That's just all God. Like the fact that it was all. Like,
Yeah.
'cause how does that happen? That you got JR and his neighbor speaks Spanish, and he's perfect for this.
Correct.
there's too many coincidences.
No such thing.
Back to
right?
back to
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
You can't
So-
explain it away.
The only thing, and let me introduce this.
Go for it.
Yeah. So God put together, remember the 80s?
Show it to this camera.
Yeah. The A-Team.
Yep.
So after all this happened, I came back a year later. I had a reunion celebration. I got everybody involved. Shirts says Free Brent.
Free Brent.
Yeah,
I love it.
And on the back is the A-Team because God put the A-Team together.
That's
Because
incredible.
without all of these individuals, it could not have happened.
Right.
Without,
You'd be at 5 years right now,
I would.
with the possibility of 5 to 15 more.
Yeah.
Like,
It's incredible.
and
Here I am.
And whenever
I just said here, yeah, they're having a reunion in Cancun.
Hey, the good news is I can actually go back. It took 2 years. I couldn't even step foot in Mexico because I am a convicted felon.
Yeah.
but they let you back now.
I could go back.
You're not
I
gonna.
will absolutely, positively never step foot in
No,
Mexico.
I was
So
gonna
again,
say, don't
but I
get
could.
any
I
ideas.
absolutely could.
Yeah.
There's so much more involved into that story, the back end of what happened. High-speed chases. I mean, no joke. There was high-speed chase in downtown Cancun where Mimo and Matt was in Mimo's car with the $30,000 in a backpack, and they were being chased, guess by who? By Tim, JR, and David, because they wanted to make sure Matt was safe. So why wouldn't they just make sure and follow everything was okay?
Yeah.
Right. So they were after Matt's safety. Mimo felt threatened, so they were both.
Right.
But I'm sure Matt's up front being like, dude, they're just trying to protect me.
He was. Yeah.
And this is a part of the stories that I think getting Matt on here at some point in time, and Aaron would be great too, because they're obviously two amazing people. But then there's the story, like we could talk about another time too, like how hard was it for your daughters?
Oh, imagine.
I can't.
But thank goodness Erin was there,
Right.
their second mom, to keep them occupied. And she did not, full disclosure, she will tell anybody and everybody, she did not tell them the details.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So Morgan knew a little bit more because I love Brenna. She's blonde as blonde could be. It always will be. She just didn't understand. 18 years old, she just didn't understand.
It's fine.
Right.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Do you remember what Brooks and I got you that was on your desk when you got home?
Oh, I sure do. I still have them in my office.
What are they?
To this day, 2 little rubber band pistols.
Wooden guns.
Wooden guns.
Dude, and we said right before we started this episode, like, those things pack a punch. They might be military weapons
They're
down
9
in
mils.
Mexico.
Yeah, that's a 6-month sentence for that one.
Yeah. Simply amazing how God truly orchestrated it and put everybody in place. There's more than the people that I mentioned. I mean, from my pastor, my congregation, John, Gilly, my ex-in-laws, to Tim, to JR, to Matt. I mean, the list is endless of who all helped me, who helped Free Brent.
And it looked exactly like a community coming together to help something traumatic, like a tornado goes through a community.
Yep.
They come, the people come, and it was the same thing with you. Like when we heard Brent was in prison, everybody was willing to do everything. Yeah. Like everybody had put their life on the line, and it was like literally everybody, the community, our office, our brokerage, everything at that time was just Free Brent, Free Brent, and the fact that we get to sit here today, and the fact that we've gone on trips since then. You've gotten yourself healthy since then.
I have.
You have. Like, you've taken care of your body. You've gotten closer to your daughters. Morgan's just gotten promotions in the Air Force, and Brenna's now working at the office. And that growth of everybody around you and the family and your connection with God is better. Everything's better.
It sure is.
Like, I had an accident. I was a drug addict. All that happened for me to be a person who I am today. Yeah. Like, I have friends like that I get to hang out with, and things that I get to do, and people that we get to influence. And this story is not only going to be something for people that are going to listen to and just be heartbroken and then be resurrected with the feeling of like, wow, there is a God. But at the same time, hopefully this puts the thought process in people's heads. When you're traveling, you have got to be careful. Like, you've got to be careful.
And to be quite honest, that going to another country that does not speak English, we think it's okay. We think I'm going to a resort. But my question is, what happens in transit from the airport to the resort if you get into an accident, you got to go to the hospital? Do they speak English?
Yeah.
What happens if you get hurt severely and now you need medical attention? It's just that language barrier is very, very difficult.
Yep. So before you travel outside of this country, do your research. Make sure you're protected. I mean, I've traveled a lot. I want to go to Ireland this coming, and it's part of the things for me. And like, I've been to multiple countries that don't speak English, but I'm thinking about going on a trip overseas. And in my brain, I'm like, well, I want to go to Portugal. Maybe I just want to go somewhere where they speak English. Like, that's a thought process. Not that I have anything wrong with anything or anybody. It's just that, like, I kind of want that. Okay, I get there, they're going to speak English. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to understand in Ireland or Scotland, but I'll do my best. But I know they're speaking some sort of English.
Right.
But that's some of the thought process I've had. Like, and then we got Nate over here. Nate goes to all sorts of places. Ecuador. Where else have you been, Nate?
Uganda, Dominican several times.
Uganda, Dominican. And he's done tons of missionary work, and I got my buddy Matt Riggins and his wife and their daughter are right now away in a country, a third world country. They go to India. They go to, like you said, like Ecuador. They go to Guam. Like, these are places that people are willing to go to help other people out as well. But also, when you're going on vacation, like I had Jeff Arnold. I'll talk about Jeff. Him and his wife were going to the Bahamas. Well, there was 3 people killed at the resort they were going to. So they changed it to Jamaica. So these are things that you have got to keep an eye on. You're traveling outside the States.
Oh, you bet.
You better be careful. Yeah. Period. It doesn't matter, because things can happen.
Things can happen.
Yeah, but everything does happen for a reason, and I find an incredible parallel between what happened to you and the Daniel in the Lion's Den story. Like that, it's almost like a like a remake. You know what I mean? Like it's the new age version of that story. And like when you say everything happens for a reason, what is your response to the question, why do you think this happened to you? What's the greatest purpose? Is it just to get the word out about God, to maybe put some of the naysayers' thoughts to bed? Or is it something that's like, hey, you know, explain that. If it wasn't God, what was it? Like,
and that's that's a great question. For me, I guess the proof, because I believed before. I believed, but I didn't believe.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah,
you were like
100%.
99%, and now you're like,
I get it. Yeah, I believe in God. I know where I'm going when I do cross over. But until then, wow. And we have to entrust. Entrust every portion of our life from beginning to end is all in his hands. And that was, for me, I believe the reason. Because it is crystal clear now. I'm human. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. I'm not going to be perfect the rest of my life either. I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fall, but he forgives. So all of that being said, other than the part of making this reality, it had to become reality for me to get to that next level, if you will. And I hope, my hope, my prayer is, if there's anybody that can hear this, that knows the story and says, wow, you know, if there's one person, then his work is done.
Amen.
there you go.
And that's the thing, like with
what
the
it
show,
is.
we just want to plant one seed every show. One seed.
It's exactly right.
So
I can't thank you guys enough for having me here.
Yeah.
I apologize if I rambled.
No, man.
There's a lot more to it. There truly is. I wish I'd have another 2 hours because there's so much more involved in the prison and all of those things that happened there.
Yeah.
Those 84 hours were truly the longest 84 hours.
that's what it could be called. 84 hours.
84 hours.
Because they got that one. Okay. But anyway,
But like,
Yeah.
real quick, like if I hope that this, you know, the fact that you told your story here will open up so many more doors for you to tell your story again and again.
because this
and
belongs
again.
on a screen, on a big screen. It really does.
Yeah, it belongs in the minds of everyone. Like, this is an amazing story. It has an amazing message, an amazing purpose, and this is just, to me, this feels like this is the first time you're stepping into a super public stage telling this story. We're glad to be a part of your entry, which I believe in, like, of telling this story. And I think a lot of doors are going to open, and you have a lot of impact left
Yeah.
to have.
This story is going to carry on for generations. It's going to help. It's going to help many more people than you'll ever know. And the fact that you get to share it on our show is amazing. And I really can't wait for Zach to listen to it. I know Zach's on vacation, but this is going to be really big for him to listen to too, because, you know, he's a youth pastor, things like that. This might be something he can share with, you know, the kids that he deals with too, and just help them understand that he's real. Mm-hmm. He's real. So we just want to thank you again, Brent. This was probably, I hate to say it, but one of my all-time favorite shows I've done, only because I've known this story for so many years, and it's our first two-parter, which is really big too, which I think is kind of cool. So, but once again, we want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing a story. We want to thank Matt, Tim, JR, Dave, Brooks, Morgan, Aaron, everybody you can think of, Brenna, that helped. There's so many people involved, and we want to thank all of you guys, because to have Brent here today means more than anything. So thank you again. We appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep.